Welcome back to Jack of All Trades 505. This is your host Joseph. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I do apologize, it has been a little while since I have made a video. I have recently started school full-time. I'm currently going back to school for auto body collision and repair. This course is going to be teaching me how to repair vehicles, how to paint them, how to finish them, clear coat, everything. So that way I can not only do the artwork through airbrushing, but also finish the full process of painting a vehicle. And so one of the classes I have is a welding class. And of course, I couldn't just have a plain old welding hood. I had to customize it myself. So I took this welding hood, was plain black, just shiny plastic. I took an 800 grit sandpaper to the entire surface, knocked down any shine that I could see on the surface. Then I wiped it down with a wax and grease remover. Then I sprayed the entire surface with the Wicked, basically the Wicked Autoborne sealer. Then I sprayed it with the Wicked Pearl Black base coat. And then after that, I went in with the white carbon paper and started to trace out the major landmarks on the helmet, which is the part where you've seen here. I did it to both sides. And once I laid down the markings, then I went in with my Fengda BD 181. This is a 0.2 millimeter airbrush. And the paint is a Wicked Detail White. Again, this is a very good airbrush. I did have to polish the needle. I adjusted the tension spring. I sealed the needle, the nozzle and air cap to prevent air leaks. And this airbrush performs very, very well. I do also use the Master G44 loaded with Wicked Jet Black, and I also will use the Master G48, which is a 3 milliliter B size cup airbrush for quick color changes. I will implement this for all the color actually used in this painting. Really, the only colors that I used was blue, orange. I did use two different oranges in this first image. I used the illustration bright orange, but on the other side, I end up switching to the burnt sienna for the orange that I decided to go with. It was a little darker, a little muddier, just because the orange on this other side at times was a little overpowering. So that's why I switched it up for the other side. But really, these markings that I make with the white carbon paper, they don't really interfere with the paint. What you can do, what I have found is that you can paint directly over the top of them. And then once your artwork is completed, you can go over the top of your artwork, or at any point, really, as long as the paint is dry, give it a couple minutes to dry, and hit it with a solvent-based surface cleaner. I happen to use odorless mineral spirits, but wipe down the surface and it will wipe away those markings, even from under the paint, or anywhere that they're kind of exposed that the paint hasn't covered them up. And that way you don't have those little markings and you can continue your artwork. So here, again, just you'll notice that I try to preserve as much of the background as I can for the black, just because the background is the pearl black, and when you look at that in the sunlight, you know, it reflects and shimmers. And here I'm going in with the jet black in just the darkest areas, in the eyes, in the shadow areas, in the fingers, in the mouth, just the wherever there are true shadows, and try to preserve the pearl black of what was underneath, mainly in his jacket and the background, and any other, you know, incidental area. But the you will notice once it, you know, after it's clear coated, that you can tell the difference between the jet black opaque and anywhere that I didn't spray that in the artwork. So here I had loaded the G48 with the cobalt blue and toned the image. I didn't just spray it completely over every square inch of the image. I toned it in where I could see the darkest concentrations in the reference photo. Now I do have a black and white reference photo directly behind me on my easel, and to my right, just off screen, I do have my computer screen with the color image up. Now the computer screen on the computer, I can blow up the image, focus in on particular details that I can't see in the black and white reference. But the reason I like to have that black and white reference there is because it really lets me see my tonal values, my highlights and my shadows and my midtones, and I can tell without the distraction of color if I have enough tonal value, if there's enough highlight, if there's enough shadow, so I will revisit the area. Here I've switched to the second figure. This would be, I guess, the true Ghost Rider. If you follow Ghost Rider lore, his flame is the bright orange, and I guess this blue flame is a anti-Ghost Rider, or another Ghost Rider is doing something he's not supposed to be doing, and they're fighting. But originally I had found this image back in 2012. This was the first painting I had done in acrylics on canvas since high school. I had painted it originally with a paintbrush and acrylics, and it was a really good piece. I was very happy with it. I did actually sell that painting. That was probably the first painting I ever sold. And so when I decided to do this helmet, and I decided to go with the Ghost Rider theme, mainly because of the flames, and I'm going to be working with metal and, you know, open flames and whatnot. So that's why I decided to go with Ghost Rider. I decided to revisit this image and see how different the results came out compared to my original painting. And I am very, very satisfied with how this came out. So yeah, like I said, it was fun to revisit it and take another crack at it. So here I've loaded up the G48 with paint. I've loaded red, orange, yellow. With the G48, especially with fire, I will tend to use the same airbrush to create the flames, because the yellow and the orange and the red actually all play off of each other and work together. They're kind of in the same family, and you know, the red and the yellow are primary, which make orange. So again, they all, or you know, they all kind of work together. So here I just try to lay in the values as I see them. The darkest edges of the flame are red, burning orange as they get hotter and hotter, yellow, and then white at the hottest points. I laid down the tone, and then I go back in with the white to bring out the highlights, and then again back and forth, bringing midtones, highlights, trying to balance it and bring it to the point where I'm happy with it. So at this point, I'm pretty much done with the figures, done a little bit of background, and I'm switching to the other side. So this image is of Ghost Rider himself on his motorcycle with tires ablaze and the chain whipping above his head. Again, this is considered freestyle because I do not use paper masks or friskets to block out any of the figures or shapes or protect for overspray. I only use freehand shields and control of the airbrush itself. I will use very little. I will use the eraser to erase some elements back, but for the most part, I try to keep this a pure airbrush without erasing, and just blocking in the shapes, starting to work very lightly. Again, it's better to go light and go over it several times to darken it than to try to reach that saturation that you want in one go. Because often what will happen is you'll overshoot it, you'll get too much paint that comes out, and it's not gradual. By building up your opacity, building it up in layers, that's where you really start to get that realistic or refined kind of look. Now this is obviously a very illustrative image. It's not photorealism, but there are elements of photorealism. The foreshortening of the fork on the motorcycle, the 2-point perspective, you know, going from smaller towards the rear tire and getting bigger towards the front tire. This is an example of 2-point perspective and foreshortening. So this is, again, elements of photorealism in an illustration. Obviously, this image does not exist in nature or in reality. This is from somebody's imagination. I wish I knew who the original artist was. I do give credit that this is not my artwork. This is a fan art. So I am drawing or painting somebody else's art. I am not, I'm not claiming to be the original artist, but this is fan art. And this is, a character that I've grown up with and that I've admired and that I like. And, once you create a character like this, an image like this, my feeling is that you no longer kind of own it. It becomes part of people's identity of, what influenced who they are and the things that interest them as a child will influence them later on in life. Ghost Rider riding a motorcycle, was definitely something that influenced my decision to ride motorcycles as an adult. So again, when you repaint an image like this, as long as you're not claiming it as an original piece of art, you're giving credit to that is somebody else's image. Again, I wish I knew who drew it. I just found the image on Google and decided to paint it. But the original art was awesome. I tried my best to emulate this, the depth and detail that the original artist was able to convey. Again, it's not a perfect rendition. It is rough. I have only been airbrushing for a little over a year now. And I'm learning every day. Every piece is a new learning experience. I will approach it in a different manner. I will try a different technique. I will try to implement something that I've seen somebody else do in one of their videos. I'm constantly watching other airbrush artists' videos to try to glean somewhat of their technique and their process, even if it's a speed video like mine, because you can gain quite a bit from just studying the video. And even if you have to rewatch this video, mute it and slow it down to a quarter speed and really take in the process, take in what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and rewatch it several times. I even will watch my own videos back again after I've made them, just so I can kind of remember what steps I took to create an image, because oftentimes I do things instinctually. I don't plan them out. I'm not thinking about, oh, how I'm going to achieve this. I just kind of do it in the moment. I come up with the inspiration of, oh, okay, maybe this will work, and I'll try it. And if it doesn't work, I try something else. But oftentimes it has worked. And again, I will sometimes forget how I achieved a particular image or effect, and I will have to rewatch the video just so for my own understanding of how I did it. So here I have gone ahead and finished rendering out the shapes, going in with the black and the white until I was satisfied. Once I was satisfied, I broke out the G48 and started in with the fire. Again, just jumping back and forth between red, orange, yellow, and white. So at this point, we're almost done. These are just going to be the last little finishing touches to add the color. It happened so fast, but there was a point where I did load some cerulean blue and then cobalt blue for the background, just to give it a little bit more color and separation from, say, the black in his leathers and the bike and the background. So here again, just finishing up, going in with the last bits of white for highlight, and then little touches here and there for color where I see them, and finishing it up. And pretty much we are done with this portion. Like I said, you'll notice the G44 hitting little touches of black to clean it up, and the G48 for the last little touches of color until I was satisfied. And once I was done, here is the finished product. This is a nice close-up of the left side of the helmet. As you can see a lot more detail in this close-up photo than you were able to see from that video angle. And this is the right side. Again, this is after the mineral spirit wipe down to get rid of the little white markings that may have been left over and touched up. And this is a real-time video of the helmet clear coated out in the sun. You can see that shimmer for the base coat, and then you can see the difference from where I laid down the jet black and the pearl black base coat. So I hope you enjoyed this process. I thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share it. And leave a comment on what you'd like to see next time, and I'll try to do it. Thanks again. Have a good day.